What's up, YouTube? This is FourthStarTCG, and I am back. Today I have PSA submissions, plural, number 11 and 12, I believe. I think that's the number. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But going to be sending off a nice, fresh batch of cards off to PSA. We'll cover those for a second. Very happy to be getting all of these cards off to PSA. It's going to be pretty awesome. I will go through, I'll show you guys every single card as usual, talk a little bit about all of them, and move some codes to the back. I just redeemed all those for TCGO, so that one on the top, you're not going to get anything with it. Alright, so let's get into it. First card I'm submitting, a Rayquaza Gold Star, Japanese from Clash of the Blue Sky. Let's very much hope PSA doesn't watch my YouTube channel. But I originally submitted this card. It got a 9. I cracked the case, and I will be submitting it again. I really think this card deserves nothing less than a 10. The only thing I can see wrong with it is the centering is maybe a tiny bit off. Maybe the top border is just the littlest bit bigger than the bottom border. But it's perfect on the back. I really don't think that this should be a 9. And this is like, I think it's harder to get, I swear, it's harder to get a 9 of this card than a 10. There are so many 10s, tons of them, but I want one anyway. It's a Rayquaza Gold Star, and I want my 10, goddammit. So, going to be sending that one again. There are a lot of cards in this submission that I am sending in for semi-review, and we'll get to that in a little bit. We got a Ultra Rare Alakazam EX from X and Y10. Probably the only card that I want to buy from XY10 was this. The Umbreon EX Full Art, pretty nice, I do have to say. But it's very expensive in Japanese right now, so I might be holding off on that for a little while. But there's that beautiful Ultra Rare Alakazam. Keep all these cards in order. Got Mega Scizor EX Full Art from X and Y9. I pulled this myself, but didn't get around to submitting it until now. Just missed the cut for my last submission, but I always love to submit the cards I pull myself. It just makes it that much more fun when you get them back. Next up, I believe the first of 2 cards that have doubles. You got 2 Umbreon EX Full Art. These are very nice condition. You see on the back, there's a couple of specks at the top. I think they show up more on camera than they do in real life. But other than that, like that edge perfect, this edge perfect, bottom maybe like a speck. And that's the first one. And then the second one, if I can pick it up off of my desk. There it is. The centering is off on these. I think it's still within the tolerance for a 10. I ruled 2 other ones out because of centering. But I'm very much hoping that one of these comes back with a 10. If they don't, it'll kind of stink, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Now we're into some English cards. Of course, those are English too, but I've been having some good luck with English cards, so I wanted to sort of push that luck and see how far I can take it. We've got a Rayquaza EX Full Art from Dragons Exalted. I believe this is Pop 2 in a 10. My plan all along with this, I never got around to cracking it and submitting it, but I did. My plan all along with this was to reset. I think it should be a 10. Centering is perfect, as we can see on the back. There is really nothing wrong with this card whatsoever. Maybe there's a tiny speck in the bottom corner, but other than that, I have 10s that are much worse condition than this. So I definitely believe that this card should be a 10. Of course, PSA, they're the last word, so we'll see what they say. But I very much believe this card should be a 10. My goal all along was to get it in a 10, sell it for an exorbitant sum of money to my friend Jeremy, who collects Rayquaza cards. But, of course, I just saw on Instagram yesterday that he has acquired this card in a PSA 10, which is a little crazy. A little bit of a... I'm so happy for him that he was able to get it. But... hope if this scores a 10, it just might have to stay in my collection. So very much hoping for a 10 on that. If that gets a 10, make the submission. I don't care about all the English cards if that one gets a 10. Next up, we are submitting some really gem mint cards. With English cards, I don't submit a lot, and if I submit an English card, it's because I know it has a good shot at getting a 10. We got a Kingdra EX. This really, like, nothing wrong at all. Again, maybe a tiny, tiny speck in the corner, but that's nothing really. A lot of people think that if you can see anything wrong with a card, then it means it won't be a 10. That's not true. PSA, there is a very small tolerance. 10s are perfect cards, but there's an extremely small tolerance if there's one little bit of edge wear, and I mean really small. PSA might still award you that 10 grade. Here's a Latios EX. I fully expect this one to come back a 10. I don't think there's any specs on it at all, so very much hoping for that one to come back a 10. Got a Magcargo EX. Bringing it in with the English cards. Probably the most English I've submitted in a very long time. Magcargo EX. A Groudon EX from Undone Seal. I purchased a lot of these off of the same person. Pretty nice. Let's take a look at that back. Who would not give that card a 10? Who wouldn't? Let me see the grader who wouldn't give that one a 10. Next up, we got a Regice. This is another crack and resubmit. Centering is a little bit off on this, but the back is very, very nice. So, very much hoping for a 10 on this. Would go wonderfully with my 10 in the Japanese version of this card. Got the exact same card in Japanese with the Gem Mint 10 grade as well. Next up, we got a Milotic EX. This is another crack and resubmit. I must say... The Rayquaza was a crack and resubmit. I think I said that. I graded that one a 9 before. This is another crack and resubmit. I don't... This is either Pop 1 or Pop 0, the Milotic EX. Again, like, I mean, what's wrong with this card? What is wrong with it? Yeah. Now into the Japanese EXs. Can't be a FST submission without a heaping ton of old Japanese EX cards. We have a Registeel EX, the Play promo. I worked it out, and buying this card and grading it, assuming it gets a 10, brings me just under the price of buying a 10. So I wouldn't be making much money off of that technically, but it's all for my collection, so that's what really matters. Got a Regirock EX first edition from Undone Seal. Check out that shard hollow pattern. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This card has some very slight edge wear on it. See down there. That's probably the only thing that's wrong with it. Right there in that corner. Or on that edge. I will not focus in. Come on. Come on. Alright. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Little bit edge wear on the side. Very much hoping this still comes back at 10. Would be amazing. If I get this in a 10, it completes my Regi Undone Seal EX set. And it will be the second complete Regi EX Undone Seal set in existence. That Regirock is extremely hard to find. I know of someone who is paying $100 US for a mint first edition copy of that card, so very valuable. Next up, we got a Steelix EX from EX, it's from EX Unseen Forces. Japanese version, or the Japanese name is Golden Sky Silvery Ocean. So another very nice EX card. Hoping to add to my Golden Sky Silvery Ocean collection with that card. Wonder if I should put it with the other ones. I probably should group them by set. I got some more Golden Sky Silvery Ocean EXs coming up. Next up, we got a Blanks Groudon Play promo. And I assume it goes without saying that if I don't mention anything wrong with the card, I expect to get a 10. Yeah. So, got a Blanks Groudon Play promo. If this scores a 10, I'm very hopeful that it will. It will complete my Blanks, Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza Play promo set. I have the Kyogre and Groudon, or the Kyogre and Rayquaza in a 10, and I need the Groudon. So, hopefully that will score a 10. Next up, bringing it a little bit down the notch on the quality scale, we have an Exploud EX. Some interesting artwork there. First edition from Miracle Crystal. Hoping to score a 10 on this. Now we're into some fantastic stuff. First edition Rayquaza EX from Dragon Frontiers. This is another crack and resubmit. Had a 9 before. I believe it should be a 10. Centering maybe the slightest bit off, but for first edition Dragon Frontiers centering, this is amazing. One quick second while I grab the general standard of centering. Here, we'll show you on the Rayquaza real quick. That's what the standard of centering is for Japanese EX Dragon Frontiers in first edition. As you can see, the top extremely larger than the bottom. I have several copies of this card. The Rayquaza EX, as you can see. Where's the Kingdra? I got a Kingdra, which is ridiculous. Here it is. There's that. See the massive top border compared to the very tiny bottom border. That's what the majority of Japanese Dragon Frontiers first edition EX. That's the majority of Dragon Frontiers EXs alone. First edition is the centering is a little bit worse. Unlimited edition still terrible centering, but yeah, finding a good centered copy of this card is just amazing. This is the only one that I've ever seen that has this good centering, and the back is perfect as well. So come on, PSA, let's have that 10. Next up, we got 2 copies of Espeon EX. I've purchased 6 of this card so far in a ham-fisted attempt to catch Pokemon Master 556, who has already scored this card in a 10. And despite my attempts to buy it from him, which were futile, I have finally scored a couple Gem Mint copies. We got a Gem Mint Unlimited copy. I think I had this in my collection for a while, and then I thought it was not worth grading, but then I was like, you know what the hell? It's got like little tiny specks of Edgeware here and there. It's not really that bad. It's something that I can see PSA sort of saying like, all right, that's passable. But if this gets a 9, I will understand why it gets a 9. I probably wouldn't crack and resubmit it, or I'd probably just accept the 9 on that one. This is the one that I'm really hoping for. I can see really nothing wrong with this card. Centering is great. Just a beautiful, beautiful copy. First edition, the other one was unlimited. So very much hoping that this comes back at 10. I would be extremely happy, as this is Pop 1 right now. As I said, Pokemon Master 556 has the other copy. Or has the 1 copy, as of now. Check that out. I'm very happy with this card. I just purchased this. Quick BCBM video right in the middle of the PSA submission. Bought these 2 cards recently. Umbreon is gradable. Lugia is unfortunately not, but the seller did say it was near mint to mint, so I can't complain with that. I bought it off of OCGHP on Instagram. If you guys want to go check him out, I bought the Lugia. This one came from Ed Murdeler on eBay. I was able to snatch it up as soon as he listed it for a reasonable price. But this is also pretty gem mint. I really say there's only one, I don't know if I can even catch it on the camera, one itty bitty dot. And it's like infinitesimal. You have to like look under a microscope to see it. So very much hoping that this comes back at 10. I do already have this Umbreon EX in a 10, but it is unlimited edition. My 10 and that card is first edition. So hopefully that'll all work out, and I will have 10s of Umbreon and Espeon both in first edition. Next up, we got the Sceptile EX from Miracle Crystal. This was the first Delta Species EX card. Pretty sweet right there. Gotta love it. Centering great. Back great, as always. So very much hoping that this comes back at 10, and adds to my PSA 10 Japanese old school EX collection, which is ever growing. And last but not least, for this part of the submission, we have a Gyarados EX first edition from Flight of Legends. I originally wasn't going to submit this, but I said, what the hey, it's got a good chance at a 10. But if that comes back a 9, I will understand. So that's the first part, which is the ungraded cards, or the raw cards that I'll be submitting. I'm also submitting a review submission. I'm submitting 3 cards that have already been graded by PSA, but I want them to take another look at them. This is a service that PSA offers. And you say, well, why don't you just do that instead of cracking and resubmitting? Two reasons. One, if you submit via review, it's a whole different submission, which means you have to pay separate return shipping. You can ship 2 orders in the same package, but the orders won't be return shipped to you in the same package, so you have to pay separate return shipping. And if there is a minimum card quantity on your collector's club submission, it doesn't count towards that. So you'd have to submit, like, if there's a 25 card minimum special, say, like, I think one of the ones this month is like $6 or $6.25, with a 25 card minimum. If I wanted that price, I'd have to submit 25 cards for review. And normally, or at least for me, and I know for a lot of other people, it's usually just several cards, maybe like 2 or 3, maybe 5 at the most that they want sent in to be reviewed. So usually the specials aren't very conducive to that, but this month they are. There's a $7 no minimum quantity special, so that's what I'm submitting these under, and that's what I'm also submitting these under. So the first card that I will be submitting for review is and these are all mint 9s. I believe they should be upgraded to 10s. The other reason why you'd send review is, would you really want to risk damaging a mint condition Kyogre Gold Star? I didn't think so. With the Rayquaza, it's kind of different because I was scared when I did that, but I also was kind of like, alright, if I mess up, a 10 is pretty available. I'll just have to come up with the money. But this card has a special significance to me. When I got back into collecting, this was the first first Gold Star card that I ever purchased. So this is pretty nice. Next up, I am resubmitting my Mint 9 Mew Dragon Frontiers Gold Star. I graded this last summer. I was hoping for a Gem Mint 10. It came back in Mint 9. Very happy with that. A Mint 9 on this card is fantastic, but I do want to resubmit and see what I can get, as I really see nothing wrong with this card. And the last card that I'm submitting is a Mint 9 Moltres EX, the first edition from Flight of Legends. Very much hoping that this gets upgraded to a 10, as it would mean that I would complete my first edition Japanese Flight of Legends bird set in PSA 10. I think my friend Pokemon Syndicate had a complete set, but then he sold them to, I don't know who bought them. And I know PokePhD on eBay has a complete set. But those are the only 2 complete sets that I know of. This Moltres is very low. I think it's Pop 2, maybe Pop 3. But yeah. So that's going to do it for this PSA submission. These will all go off tomorrow on Saturday. Hopefully this video will go up Friday, if YouTube complies. But these will all go off tomorrow. They are on a 30-day turnaround, so hopefully we will get them back very fast. I might be doing a couple little tricks with the PSA submission thing, just to see how fast we can get them back. So thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stick around for more videos.